Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. For all those who are new here, I've got something new going on too. Um, if you're new, welcome. If you're one of my oldies and besties, thanks for being here. What has happened? Look, I've lost a tooth. Oh my God, I have to take a picture because this hasn't happened since I was like 7 years old. Oh my God. And in the US of A, that's a no no. You're not supposed to be missing teeth. Oh, wait till I get to my dentist. But I must say, shout out to my periodontist. It was a work in progress, and you managed to save them for another 12 years. If they go, we've got alternatives. And I'm sure I'll still have a beautiful smile. And while I'm doing shout outs, I have four, and I made a list so I don't forget. I would like to shout out at Angry Cat Crafts. You were my first comment. Yay, 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 yay. I would like to shout out Renisa. Forgive me if I've pronounced that incorrectly. Wilson 2080. I love your first name. However it's pronounced, the spelling is awesome. I'd also like to give a shout out to at Renee Pryor 2190. It's a good number. Okay. And last but not least, I'd like to give a shout out to Mrs. Duck Potato, spelt with an E. Are you a relative of Dan Quayle? Just asking. Um, Mrs. Duck Potato, I have a question for you because you have the Dean and Bean 3D printed sock machine. How is it? Are you having fun with it? It must be lightweight to travel with. Are you worried about it breaking? We should really talk because I am so curious. I can't wait to see one of these 3D printed sock machines in person, and I'd really like to try it. Now I have a question. Now that I'm missing a tooth, do I have a lisp? Do I sound like a snake now? I have no idea. Oh, you know how you can't hear yourself, everybody else can hear you? Okay. If I have a list, please let me know. Okay. Now, I made a list of things I need to cover because I've noticed once I've done my little recording, there's so much stuff that I've forgotten. So, we've done the lost tooth. Okay. I've done my shout outs. Woo-hoo-hoo. Okay. And remember these from last time? Okay. I turned them into earrings. I said I would, and I did. And now I can wear them. I like making earrings. They're fun. Yeah. Looks good on me. It's in the brown family. What is the one color that's sweat? This ring light is hot. What is the one color in the world I don't like? Brown. What color fits me best? Brown. Well, let's leave that alone. Now, what's on my table and what have I been up to? You won't believe it, but I've been coloring. Okay? I bought the Prismacolor Premiere set. It says 150 color pencils. There are 150 pencils in here, but they're like 50 colors. Because there's so many blues, so many greens, and I dare you to tell the difference between some of them. Unless you have some sort of computerized eye, I doubt it. And then I thought these were the bomb. Oh my goodness. And then I found these. And what are these? Oh yeah. Let me just hold that up for you. And these have 120. And once again, they're multiples of every color. And some of them you can't tell the difference between one and the other. And sometimes when I use both when I'm coloring, yes, I'm an adult coloring. Um, you can't tell the difference between the orange in here and the orange in there. But What does coloring have to do with knitting? Simple. If you dye yarn, these colored pencils are awesome because you can try and playing with your dyes, match a color scheme that you like. Yes, I know there's the color wheel, and I have three around here somewhere. But I've got to confess, I never understand it. I've got a big color wheel, I've got two little color wheels. Doesn't make sense to me. But what happens when I start putting colors next to each other? You go, oh, that looks good. And then you have the joy and the fun of trying to match your dye color to your pencil color. And that's a lot of fun. And if you have kids, that's a fun project as long as your child is not a complainer. Because sometimes we know about dyes. What they look like wet is, forgive, I don't know what they're doing. It sounded like marbles bouncing, if you heard that. But what a dye looks like wet is not necessarily what it looks like dry. But it can be really, really fun. And since I needed a break from knitting, this was awesome. And so while I was painting with, what's me painting? While I was coloring with the pencils, I tried to apply some of the things to my dye. Because you know I've been bitten by the dyeing bug. I haven't dyed stuff since like 2018 or 2019. So what happened? Let me show you what I did this week. Look at this sock. Look at this. Sorry about the glare on the glasses. Let's turn it over. It has just been dyed and it dried. It hasn't been washed, so it looks kind of wonky. It will straighten out after it's been washed. And I'm really excited to wash it to see what the colors do once they go through soap and water. But this is so much better than my last effort. Okay? I love this. This was so much fun. It has green and it has brown, which I don't like. But that's because I use a really dark blue in there. And I forget, this is wool. It's going to come through all the layers. But my next try hopefully will be even better. I love this. Can you imagine this on your feet? Or this as a pair of tights? Man, you'd be the center of attention. Wouldn't that be awesome? And since I've been bitten by the bug, what did I do? Remember these? My long socks? I've been wearing these for 4 years now. I think everyone is tired of them, including me. So, what did I do? While I was looking for those, I found these. I'd forgotten about these. And I wore them last winter. Take a good look at these socks, these very long socks. Next time you see them, if it comes out right, they should be tie-dyed. I'm telling you, I have been bitten. Once I saw this sock, oh my goodness, it's like, ooh la la. And then I forgot I have these also plain. So these are going to be tie-dyed. Okay? Yeah. And I have both pairs of both of them for once. Usually I have one and I'm like, where's the other one? And as you can see, another project bag. I made this one myself, and this was fun. And I even put a pocket in. Oh, I excelled that day because I detest sewing. I put 2 pockets in. Wow. I'm not sure what happened. I don't like sewing. Why don't I like sewing? Because when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a carpenter. There was a carpenter who lived next door to my great-grandmother, and he would teach his sons how to be carpenters. And it would be him, his oldest son, the next son, and me. Okay, he never. And what's interesting, he never told me go away. I would stand there, and the two of them would watch him, and I would watch him. And then I went to school one day, and they were like, "Well, you need to take a shop class. What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Be a carpenter." And next thing I knew, they'd put a piece of madras fabric in my hand and told me to pull out the warp so I could understand the construction of fabric. And I was like, why would I do that? I want to be a carpenter. And they were like, oh no, you have to learn to sew. The minute they said that, I detested sewing. I learned how, but detested it. Okay? But that was then, this is now. Okay, so let me put this back in here because I don't want to lose it, because I'm going to be dyeing up a storm. I actually cleaned out the area around the sink. That sounded like a list. Sink. Okay. I I cleaned out the area around the sink, so now I have a dye station. At least in my head, I have a dye station. Other people might be like, "Oh, you cleaned around the sink, so you can come and make more of a mess." Well, we'll see. Now, since I've been bitten by the dye, you know what I found? I got this at Michael's ages ago, have never used it, and I was like, let me tie dye some shirts. I thought that before I could do the socks, because I did such a terrible job on the red and blue one, that I would need to practice. So I pull out my tie dye kit, and I only have one white t-shirt. I was like, no, I need more to practice. I went to Michael's, the t-shirts were on sale. Why didn't I buy more? Because I wasn't thinking. Because what happens if I do this one shirt and it comes out really awesome? I don't have another shirt to do. What if I do it and it comes out really awful? I don't have another shirt to do. So now I have to wait until Michael's has another t-shirt sale so I can buy some shirts so that I can practice my tie-dyeing. And I don't know if tie-dyeing on cotton will be different than tie-dyeing on wool. And based on this sock, I didn't need to practice. Look at that. I've got shapes and everything. I mean, I've got circles, I've got lines that go across, I've got diagonal lines, I have shapes. Now, I'm not going to pretend that this was the pattern I intended. I just wanted something that I liked, and I'm pleased with this. And speaking of tie-dye and dyeing, I took some notes because let me tell you, I tried to make some dye from avocado skins and avocado peels. It came out awful. All I got was this yellow brown. I'm like, where's the beautiful red that they told me when I put yarn in it, I will get a beautiful pink? You heat it up each day over 4 or 5 days. I'm still at brown. If it stays at brown, it's going down the sink. I do not want to dye brown. No. Next time I go to Costco, I'll buy a couple bags of avocado, and maybe if it's fresh, it will work better. But I want that pretty pink. I do not want brown. Okay? And dyeing. Hold on, let me look at my notes because I don't want to finish this and then be upset that I did not. For the person out there who's a novice dyer, what type of dye do I use? I use Prochem's one-step dye. It comes in a host of colors. You don't have to buy all of that. Buy your basic red, blue, what was it? Red, blue, yellow. I'm just supposed to be for primary. I'm the wrong person to ask. But if you have red, blue, and yellow, you can mix up lots of shades of all the other colors. Okay? As for the yarn that I use, I buy sock yarn, or I have bought sock yarn because I've been on a yarn diet. Sock yarn undyed from everywhere. Shirley Walsh in Pennsylvania sells it sometimes. I have a whole box I bought from her, and I get a lot of my sock yarn from Wool to Dye For. Okay, and if you're in the UK, Rooster Yarns has yarns, just not just sock. They have all kinds of yarns from fingering to worsted that you can dye. Okay, and it all seems to come from Peru. So if you're ever in Peru, ask someone there, where is the yarn factory? You might be able to get it at a much steeper discount than if you buy it here. Okay, I think I've covered um, yeah, I think I've covered that. Oh, before I go, I still, when you, if you're a novice dyer and you're going to dye, do yourself a favor. Don't take your 50 gram or your 100-gram skein and dye that, because you might not be happy with what you get. Instead, break it down into minis. You know, these tiny minis. So you can, this is big enough that you can test your color scheme. So you can go, oh, I like that. And you can then do something bigger. Okay? Because behind me, can you see? I have all these strands of 50 and 100 grams. But before I dye them, I'm going to test them on the minis. Because when you do minis, what is great about them, because I did this one this weekend, look at those colors. Can you guess what this is going to be? It's going to be stripes. Okay, it's 3 shades of blue and 2 shades of orange. And if you're into stripes, we know I don't like stripes. The secret to stripes are long repeats. Okay, unless you have a particular pattern in mind. Let's say you're doing Fibonacci, but that's more math. But long repeats. So you would need a really long repeat. Let's say if you want 10 rows of a color, or even 20 rows of a color, whatever it is you're working on. And the great thing about minis, I have a bag full here. Let me pull these two out. You can put, because they're minis, it's easy, and I label them so I know what I'm looking at. You can put them together and decide whether or not, you know, you can hang them up, you can lay them on a table, you can use your ironing board if you have to. You can put them next to the kitchen sink because that's your dye station to see, do I like this color combo? Okay, and since they all, you know, you can wind it, do I like it? And I have a few others here. You can just play with them until you find the combo that you like, because they're so small. If you don't like them being this small, to see, you know, do these three, do I like this combo? Or maybe let me swap out the blue for a yellow. Or you know what, this color is really dark. Let me do this instead. Or maybe all 4 of them. And what's the orange string? This is what I used to hold them. Okay, so that has nothing to do with the yarns that you dye. But one thing I should say, label them. Once you start accumulating dyes, there's nothing more annoying than looking at 3 pots of yellow and trying to figure out which one you want to use. If you already have the samples and it's labeled, you know what you like and what you're going to use. Okay? So that's enough about dyeing for now. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. And as always, I hope you're having fun crafting. And since I'm missing a tooth, I'm going to make a couple videos before I get to the dentist. I don't know why it takes so long to get to the dentist, but since we don't know what will be done and what condition my mouth will be in, I should at least have a spare video in case I am unable to speak, because I find a dental visit traumatizing. You know, traumatizing? Oh, I need the heavenly choir and the angels to come hold my hand, because once they turn on that drill, oh my God. But enough for now. I'll catch you next time. Bye.